Hello, thank you for joining us today again in our fifth episode of Meet the Team here at HeavyFinance. This is the last episode, and we saved the best for last, of course. Our CEO, Laimonas Noreika, he's the driving force of the whole project. He started everything, but I'm not going to tell that story. I'll allow Laimonas to tell the story himself. Laimonas, how did everything start?
Yeah, thanks, Joe, first of all, for having me here. And how it started. So, actually, it started with a trip for going skiing just before the COVID period with me and the other co-founder, Ritis. So, we've been traveling for skiing and we discussed his industry where he operates, and it happened to be farmers. So, I was really interesting to learn more, and Ritis mentioned that farmers do lack of funding, which came as an unexpected thing to me. So combined my experience in fintech, where I already are for 15 years. Actually, that's comparing my young age is strange, but I'm already there for quite a long time, and I listened through other perspective this opportunity, that farmers lack financing. Why is that? How can we leverage that? And is it true? So that's how it started. After our trip, I started searching through, and after a few weeks, I said, Ritis, I think that's an opportunity here, and we should engage.
That's a beautiful story because we had kind of the same story told by Ritis, but on his side, so it matches perfectly actually. And you told a little bit about your experience. I think that would be a very interesting point to talk to because I know that you have extensive experience in the financing world, in the P2P lending world. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Actually, it started from payment institution. I was first of all a marketing person in a payment institution, then a product person. I ended up being a board member there in my young age. So that was the first steps in a fintech world. We actually didn't call it fintech. It was servicing clients which had needs in payments. And now it's a very successful company, perfectly surviving without me. I wasn't that super important guy there. But then with that current CEO we started other fintech related companies, and it converted to the company which is called Finbi, which I exited recently in 2019. So that was a natural evolution and natural flow of the things, and it happens to be that I do have some experience in what people call fintechs.
But that's beautiful because you started in the first payment company. You told me in marketing, then you moved to products, then you moved to the board. So that gave you a lot of experience in all the stages of the company, what it is to be leading, what it is to be actually on the terrain and giving some visibility to the company, right? And how does that apply to managing a team, managing a project actually, or owning it, a project in the years after that?
So what I learned is the more you know in different fields, the easier it is to talk with your employees or colleagues, right? So as you mentioned, I did product development where it happened to be that I kind of communicated quite a lot with IT people. Then I was a client service manager in that team, meaning that I had a direct connection to the customers. It was, I think, at that time 60,000 customers, where I was responsible to deliver good client service for them. And then it was marketing, where I was the responsible one to grow the team. So these client-oriented side combined with later on learned financial instruments. These combines help me really now. But what I learned most is that business is a team sport, so you can never do everything by yourself. So what I learned is, as soon as you find a level talent, a star, just grab it and hold it as hard as you can, and ask him to join the team. So that's how we build a HeavyFinance. All the talents you can possibly find have to work at HeavyFinance.
So that's a good point. You know that from my personal experience, dealing with you every day, I found it, besides another superpower that is being super courageous. I don't know anybody that is as brave as you are when we're talking about business. You have another superpower that is managing human talent, right? Finding it, nurturing it, and making them feel productive and making them feel motivated to join in. So I'm a little bit curious to see how you put up the team, because you started you and that is alone, as I understand, right? And then you felt the need to grow.
Yeah, so as I said, I really believed in talents, and that's where I really want to focus and grab the best talents you can and then enable them. It's not that most of the guys are much smarter than I am in the team, but what I need to make sure that I enable them to excel. So that's my logic as a person, but. Uh, yeah, currently I'm leading it as my personal efforts, but work is done by the guys, and they are now leading their departments, and that's how you grow the team. So
Very good. So before we continue, we already have a couple of questions here. That was fast. We have Jaunius asking, why should I trust HeavyFinance? The company has no history. One day you can take all your money and disappear. Do you want to answer this?
yeah, I think that's a very good question. So I suggest that people think in this manner, and that's very important when deciding where to invest your funds. I really encourage people, and people who are in the investors community with me for a long time know that I'm saying that first do your due diligence, learn about the company, learn about the managers, and only then trust your money. Money is not that easy to earn, and why should you put it on a roulette in casino? So. But as for HeavyFinance, we do have our answers. It's not the first company we're dealing with money with. We are a regulated company. We are experienced people, and we do have a reputation. We are here to show our faces, and we're not afraid of being blamed for leaving with your funds. So it's not gonna happen. So.
Yeah, I think that that's the most important point. The reason why we're doing these live streams right now is exactly to show the face, right? So if we are walking on the street, you will know that this person works in HeavyFinance. He's the CEO of HeavyFinance. Actually, your face is everywhere as the CEO of HeavyFinance, so you cannot hide and run, which doesn't happen in all other platforms. But here, transparency is key. So tell me a little bit how it was the process to grow the team and to grow the project, right? You started, as I understand, you started doing the calls yourself in the beginning, going after leads yourself, which gives you a good experience of hands-on approach.
Yeah, exactly. So when you start building, you need to learn things yourself. So I needed to learn what is a farmer, how he thinks, and what type of people we need to bring to the team so we can deliver on the results for our shareholders and stakeholders. So it's not something special. That's what every manager should do first. Learn his business. So that's where I focused first, and then I just when I figured out what we need in a team, I started looking for the best talents I could find for specific fields, and we are now covered it all as per now.
And when you started, as I understand, you had no knowledge of the agricultural field, right? Was that something that scared you a little bit?
Actually, yes. It was very kind of not really comfortable situation to be in when you start your financial technology business in agriculture. But that's where the Ritas came in, and he was constantly teaching us about the market participants, about the partners, about the way farmers think, what's their needs, what products can we build. So I would say that his knowledge was vital for our company.
That's very good. We also have another comment. I believe someone who worked with you in your first payment company, Kestutis. And the comment is third side story. Laimonas was a decent manager. Programmers can be very, very programmerish at times.
I guess that is, yeah. We had some stories, and I love you.
That's very good that someone from a previous company is actually watching, and sharing these stories. So, how about the growth of HeavyFinance as a company? You started in Lithuania. Right now, you are already in 4 countries, and as I understand, planning to go a little bit more abroad. How did you manage this growth, and how fast this happened?
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, we're growing faster than we expected. What we figured out is that we are tapping into very badly served market, and farmers do need our service. But at the same time, what we learned is that investors understand that farming is an industry which has so many benefits for as an investment instrument. So first of all, just think about it. Uh, it's if there is a economical down cycle somewhere, it doesn't happen in agriculture business, right? So that's one. Two, it's farmers most of the time have private liability as a person. So when they take a loan, so there are many things which makes us good in terms of being investment vehicle, and if you have a demand from both sides, then it's much easier to explain your growth. And what we started doing from day one, we started being an international company, and all our even communication in our Slack channels happens actually in English from pretty much day one. And now we are in 4 countries, actively hiring in Bulgaria, in Portugal, in Latvia, in Lithuania. We're now, I think, close to 20 people team. We are building our internal IT department, and we aimed for one really big country as one of our primary markets, and we are hiring 6 more people there. So we are growing fast. It comes as a bit unexpected, but I believe we are kind of controlling the growth.
That's very good. And what about, you talked a little bit about the investor side. We're going there in a little bit later. Right now, if I would be a farmer, right, why would I choose HeavyFinance? So where do you position yourself?
So as we're now speaking with the investors, it's very important to understand where the need comes from. So according to the statistics, the market which is underserved in Europe is 35 billion euros. 35 billion euros, it's quite a big amount of money, and basically this gap comes from banks do not serving this market. When I say that, it's that banks are not bad in a way. It's just that they are structured to serve large customers. So we have a large amount of small and medium farmers which are not served well. So with a HeavyFinance, we're not kind of getting lower in or higher in risk. We're just giving the access to the farmers which doesn't have an opportunity to finance. So that's where we focus, and that's where we get our traction most. But at the same time, not even we give an access, we give a flexibility. When I say flexibility, it doesn't mean that they have to provide less documents, or they are kind of being less due diligent. What we do is we create repayment schedules according to their farming needs. We create situations where instead of paying down payment for buying a used tractor or a new tractor, we ask for another collateral. And these small things help us to do more and help more.
And to meet their needs, right?
Yes.
So we have also a few questions. Paulius is asking, how many employees do you have in foreign countries outside of Lithuania?
So currently we have one Latvian, so we don't count it actually as a new country, because everything is the same as here. We now have 5 Bulgarians, 2 Portuguese, and we are hiring 2 more in Portugal. So that's what we have now.
So it's going to be 10 very soon, right? We have another question from Jaunius. What do you expect on world economy in the next 5-10 years? in the era when money printing machines working non-stop and inflation is growing every year. So 10% interest for loans just covers inflation?
That's a very good question, and I'm not the one who can answer it. I can give you my bullshit statement on that, but that doesn't count as an expert take. Um, as per the second part of the question about inflation, so yes, I think that current investment vehicle we're proposing for finance investors covers the inflation, which is good which is good in two ways. So first of all, you are covering inflation, which is hard to do in the current times, and the second thing is at least you're saving funds. So first of all, while investing to platforms like ours, you do a right thing for yourself because you save from yourself. I have a saying that if you buy a sofa, it never gets more expensive when you purchase it. So that's very important. And first of all, saving and then the interest. And if it covers inflation, that's great.
It's a good store of value. Yeah. So we have another question from Linus, and this one I will allow you to read.
Sveiki, paprastas dalykas, investuoju 100 eurų, palūkanos 11%, investavimo trukmė 24 mėnesiai. Nuo kada pradedamas mokėti palūkanos, kas kiek laiko mokama ir po kiek laiko grįžta investuota suma. Thanks, Linus, for the question. It would be perfect if you could provide it in English, but I don't think that it's a question to be addressed on this topic. So on this call, so maybe you can write us to our health support center, and we can provide this answer very fast.
Thank you. Kestutis Markūnas is asking, Andrews, when we were here, said that multiple P2P lending platforms went bankrupt. Does the problem experience apply to HeavyFinance? What HeavyFinance operational activities require most strengthening attention at the moment?
People who invest through the companies where I lead them, they know my strict opinion about many other peer-to-peer platforms, and they know how strict I am on it. And first of all, there are no guaranteed money. If you see anyone claiming that the interest rates are guaranteed, if the returns are guaranteed, these are fake platforms with fake people running it. So that's what exactly happened. The guys were building close something to pyramids, Ponzi schemes, and investors trusted their hard-earned money with them. So that's a failure of both. First of all, of the investors who didn't do their due diligence, and then you can call it whatever, a fraud, theft of funds, or misleading the company. So my suggestion here is, first of all, choose the regulated entity that adds a layer that the regulator knows who is the person, knows what the procedures he should be followed, and if he doesn't follow his rules, there is a punishment, like a decent one. First of all, eliminating you from financial service for forever if you're failing if I would fail with HeavyFinance, then I'm no longer able to become a manager in a financial institution. So at least these things, the corporate due diligence is there, and then do your research. If something is guaranteed, they lie you. There is no artificial. There's so much artificial guarantees which some platforms provide, and when shit hit the fans, as COVID did, there is no money to pay from, and it's very simple. So be aware.
Following up on this question, how important it is for a company like HeavyFinance to be properly regulated? Because HeavyFinance, as I understand, is regulated by the Bank of Lithuania.
So there are a lot of different things which adds on as a corporate governance in your company. So starting from the procedures, how you deal with the with claims of investors, with separation of their funds from your company's balance, from what happens if you go bankrupt. There are procedures in place, and then what's most important, that the regulator is really active. They come at least once in a year, once in 2 years, and properly, really check all your procedures. If something is wrong, we get a penalty. If we get a penalty, everyone hears about it, and then it's a yellow flag. So we do our best not to get into that situation. If I'm not regulated, I do whatever I want. I can write you wrong numbers, I can provide you wrong statements, and no one regulates me.
But we are properly regulated by the Bank of Lithuania and in a few months by European Union, as I understand, right?
Yeah, there's a very important change in the way the crowdfunding works. In early November, we're going to have a European crowdfunding law active in whole Europe, meaning that each countries will have to accept crowdfunding platforms as ours, and it will be passported from, if we are regulated here in Lithuania, it's passported everywhere else. So that's a very big change for us, and it's very important news.
Yeah, the regulator is no longer the Bank of Lithuania, but European Union. So it even adds on a layer of trust on top of it, right?
Extremely, yeah.
There's another question from Polius. How long HeavyFinance would survive without income? I don't know if I understand this question very well.
If the company doesn't have an income, so I just close it, right? Because why would you build a company without income? I'm the guy who is focusing on income, and you guys know it. The only thing I when I come in the office, where's the revenue? Where's the revenue? Where's the revenue? So we are growing on investors. We're growing on portfolio, growing on farmers, but the company has to make revenue and to pay salaries. Otherwise, it's fake numbers and puts stakeholders, in this case, our lenders, our investors community, at the problem if we're not receiving revenue. So that's no good news for anyone.
Yeah. Tell me something now. We don't have any questions, so I'm going to take this little pause. We were talking a little bit about the adventures on the side of the farmers. You mentioned some adventures on the side of the investors, but let's talk. If I would have to choose in between different kind of platforms for crowd lending to invest my money, why would I pick HeavyFinance?
Actually, I'm really hesitant to compare our company with any other platform. I'm really willing to build our own investors community who understands why they are with us, why they trust and have their own logic, why should they invest in agriculture. It's totally different than real estate, than consumer loans, than business loans. It is agriculture. So I'm willing to explain more why agriculture is better than anything else in the world, because I found it very interesting market, and I think that I'm investing my money here as well. So I don't want to get in there and compare us to anything else. There are many good places to invest, but think about things that 40% of European budget goes directly to farmers. That's a large number of funds.
That's massive.
Think about what happens if there is economical crisis in all your other investments, and what would happen in our case. So that's number two. Think about how many farmers would go bankrupt. The moment you in the recovery process, unfortunate if that happens, the moment you touch farmers' land, it's they become like golden sheep. They shake it and start pouring funds. So these are very important driving forces to think about while you're investing in agriculture.
Very good question. We have a question from Darius. Follow-up question on the revenue part. What is the business model of HeavyFinance?
So we take a 3% cut on each loan which we make. So to be honest, we are now doing close to 70,000 euros in revenue per month. So that's where we are now. We are planning to achieve the close to 200,000 euros in next year. So we have large targets. and that's the single model which we're having. 3% cut at the moment you should loan.
So let me ask you another question that I think it's very interesting to wrap up even this conversation. So guys, this is going to be the last question on my side. If you want to ask more questions, please do. We still have a few minutes, I hope, to answer them. So jump in and start typing now. As for you, I wanted to ask you something. How do you see the future of HeavyFinance? What do you have in store? What is the roadmap and the expansion?
So what we promised to ourselves is, first of all, we are aiming to become a borderless lending marketplace for agriculture. When we say that, first of all, we have Europe in mind, and that's where we focus due to the reasons I provided you, that it's heavily subsidized and there is a huge market potential. So that's our focus number one. We want to become point where any farmer in Europe gets a financing if he needs it. So that's one. Then two, we want to be a fair marketplace for everyone, for retail investors, for companies who have some amounts on their balance sheet available, for institutions who are willing to funnel their clients to different segments of farmers. And that's the target for, I would say, next 5 to 7 years. And we want to become a strong player and a well-known player in agriculture, with a all things which come on top: large international team, decent corporate governance. So that's my dream, to build strong company in agriculture, in finance. Thing is that just a bit of add-on. The last time the last big financial institution was built in agriculture was I think 30 years ago, and that was UniCredit. So why not to build another big one with this great team?
Very good. That's a very good answer. I want to do a follow-up question actually, because you're talking about everybody. So that means that you're not targeting specific size of investors or specific size of farmers. Well, I mean, are you targeting everybody?
Actually, yes. We are open to any institution and any person who are willing to invest. So we are here to listen to your needs, and if you're willing to access this investment class which we're delivering, then you should contact us.
Thank you so much, Laimonas. Wait, one last question. This was like in extremis. How often and how do you check the financial status of the loan receivers before they got bankrupt and pays no more monthly payments?
So that's a good question, and the thing is that pretty much none of our customers had the loan repayment schedules where they don't pay at least some amounts per month. We are very diligent on the process. When we don't receive payment, we really put the yellow flag, and we start reaching out first to the customer, and there are diligent procedures which we have in place to constantly check on what's the situation with the farmer and his payments. But to really answer your question, there are no many ways to learn about his future actions. If he gets a loan with us now, we cannot we cannot control him not borrowing more on other financial institutions. So that's a good question, I would say.
Very good. No more questions. Laimonas, thank you so much for being here with us today to close this series of Meet the Team live shows. I think they were super productive. We were able to give a good impression or at least a good image of everybody that is on our team, our core members. There's one person missing, that is our CTO, that is still to join the team. I hope to be able to interview him next month. But so far, this is it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this live shows. I hope that in the future, if you want to meet the rest of the team, watch the episodes that are behind. And once again, I cannot express more our gratitude for you watching our videos. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for being with us and really trusting our company. What we achieved in a short period of time is great, and it couldn't happen without your help. Thank you again for that. Thank you, Joao, for having me here. Dear team, thank you for being so productive and so into heavy finance. Thank you again.
Very good. This was